All right, this is going to be a look at Lamar Jackson's 79-yard touchdown run that put the Ravens up 35-14 in their Week 1 loss to the Dolphins. This is going to be kind of like a calling card for me. I'm going to try to pick one play each game and do a little diagram, maybe show some pictures on Sunday night to try to align or match that up with halftime of the Sunday night game. I know a lot of people probably watch the Sunday night game. I do not, unless it involves someone that we're going to play soon or I have time on my hands, which I rarely do. So this is going to be a look at Lamar's 79-yard touchdown run, which is on a play that I would call power read. But the way the Ravens do it is kind of unique. So in order for me to explain it to the level at which I would like to try to, I have to show you two old plays. All right, I'm going to show you one old play, a touchdown on QB counter read, and then another touchdown except on QB power read, so you can see the difference. And then I'll show you the little variation or slight adjustment that the Ravens made to try to influence or encourage the Dolphins to not be prepared to stop the play. All right, so first we're going to look at QB counter read. And the first thing that you should notice is typically when we do run that play, you have the back to one side of Lamar, in this case the right side, and there's a tight end normally on that same side. Now that's the same situation that you had today, except the tight end was Pat Ricard. And we didn't run the exact same play. We didn't run QB counter read. You will get the end zone angle so you can see it, and I'll break it down a little bit. The one thing I want you to think about for QB counter read is this. The running back threatens the right side of the defense, and I think this D end is going to go upfield with J.K. Dobbins. And then on the keep, or potential for the keep, after he crosses Lamar's face, Lamar can keep it like he does here and go off tackle behind the two pulling linemen. In this case, the left guard Bozeman and the left tackle Stanley. So the key element to QB counter read is the back and Lamar, the quarterback, threaten different directions. Okay, we'll let this run. You can see it. It's from 2020. You can see the mesh reading the D end here on this side. These inside linebackers play it quite poorly. Talked about that many times before. Lamar splits them like the goalposts, runs for a huge touchdown. All right, no problem. QB counter read. Next play, QB power read. The back is on Lamar's left this time. Again, he's going to run that path that's toward the sideline. But the difference here is if Lamar keeps it, which he does on this play, Lamar will keep it and then run off tackle to the same side that the running back went to. Okay, so you have two different concepts there. You can see Dobbins running out ball in his last season. I could be wrong, but you can see the back is crossing Lamar's face left to right, going parallel to the line of scrimmage. Lamar is usually reading this defender, but sometimes he's reading this inside linebacker, which if he is reading this inside linebacker, this read makes sense that he kept it because this inside linebacker was clearly going with Dobbins. Now he's just going to follow Bozeman just like he did in today's game against with Ben Powers against the Dolphins. Slightly different concept in that Powers isn't pulling and wrapping. Powers is pulling and kicking. So what you're going to do is you're going to get a series of pictures here. Don't believe I can show you the video, but you have the back on this side. So the conflict that they're trying to create is this. If it was QB counter read, the first play that I showed you, the touchdown run against the Eagles, Davis would be crossing his face. Lamar would be reading this D end over here. And if Lamar chose to keep it, then Lamar would put his foot in the ground and run downhill off tackle in this direction. When I initially saw this, I thought it was his QB counter read, but it was not. If it was QB power read, the second play I showed you against Washington, Davis would again be running that path parallel to the line of scrimmage. Lamar would again be reading this D end. If the D end steps upfield, Lamar would keep it and run off tackle on the same side, the same direction that Davis is threatening, behind a pulling guard, which in this case would be Kevin Zeitler. I know there's a lot of lines up there, so forgive me for that. But QB counter read is split flow, so the back and Lamar go in two different directions. QB power read, they go in the same direction. All right, so here's what's different, though. You get Duve in motion, and once he goes in motion, I'm going to stop it for a minute and annotate some. So Duvernay's gone in motion. That's Duve here, all right? He was running left to right on the screen. Lamar's reading this D end. Here's the variation that the Ravens have done, though. They've run the tailback or the running back, Davis, outside at the will linebacker, which is the guy Lamar is reading. Most outside linebackers in a 3-4 structure are taught, don't let a running back cross your face, or at least the ones that I have been exposed to or been around. So he's expanding to get outside of Davis because he's reading sweep. All right. So again, I'll pull this back so you can see where Duve came from. Motion here. Davis leading out to the edge to block. That pulls this will linebacker. All right. All right. Well, let's go back. Secondly, Pat Ricard and Morgan Moses are going to double team on the front side 5 technique. And then Ricard does a nice job of comboing up to the Mike backer. And Powers, who's pulling here, is actually going to, I think he actually blocks 2 guys. He actually blocks the Mike and the free safety. And you will get a diagram here for a moment that'll be a little cleaner than this fuzzy screen. So forgive me for that. So I think it's a nice adjustment in that we're using Duvernay in motion as the, quote, potential sweep guy. And then you can see Davis has pulled the will linebacker with him. The will is responding to what looks like a sweep threat. That is the Mike that Pat Ricard has got up to. You can see the Mike and the free safety are the 2 people potentially who could make this play. I think that Linderbaum kind of loses this guy here on the backside. I think he was a 3 technique on the backside. I'm not sure about the angle Linderbaum took. I'll look at it more in detail when I get the all-22 in the end zone. All right, advancing to the next frame that I want to look at. You can see the seam that's created. Ricard is here. He helped Moses, and then he peeled off to the Mike backer. Powers here pulled from the left side, and he's really getting the free safety and almost kind of walling off the Mike as well. Huge hole. Lamar takes it to the house. Not much to say on the back side of this for real. I'm going to let this run. I'm going to get to the diagram just so you can see it. I know the diagram's a little cleaner. I'm trying to avoid any copyright issues. I have no idea how to do this and avoid them on stuff like this. So in any case, here you go. Here's the actual formation. And I'll draw it up for a minute with the motion. So the motion, and Davis out here to the edge is going to pull the will linebacker who was lined up here. So he expanded. So that would be the read guy for Lamar. If, for whatever reason, if that will linebacker, let's just say he crashed inside, then this would have been a give to David, or give to Ricard, and he would have followed Davis around the end, and we would have hopefully had a 3-on-2. The free safety. The way that this works, I've seen this scheme many times in high school. The way this works, the way you want to try to defend it is you want to get somebody underneath the fullback, and you want to get somebody outside the fullback. So what they were trying to do is get the will outside the fullback. I'm saying the fullback is Davis here because he's a lead blocker. And then on the motion, you saw the free safety. The free safety would be the guy who would fit underneath the fullback. That's how they would try to make it a 3-on-3. The will, the free safety in the corner versus Bateman, Davis as a lead blocker, and Duvernay. Here's our blocking scheme drawn up in the diagram. There. And the 2 guys who, again, could have had a chance to make this play is the Mike and the free, because the will is getting a read that he has to respect. He has to respect that, otherwise, Lamar would give it on the sweep, which is why Lamar is reading him. It's not predetermined. Lamar is reading the will. If that will linebacker, who, you saw in one of the stills, if he come down violently like this, it's a give, it's an easy first down. The best job, I think, here was done by Ricard and Powers, and I was kind of critical of Ricard, obviously, in my reaction video, but here's an example of him making a good block, which is what we're asking him to do. I have changed the color of the will linebacker to kind of differentiate what he did as opposed to the Mike and the free, just so you know. This is one of the things you would do in the offseason if you were coaching defense. You would literally chart all 22 players on your defense on the big plays. I did this one season, and thankfully there was only 16 big plays the whole year. 4 of which resulted in touchdowns, but it was an opportunity for me to see, okay, what are we teaching that gets our players to react this way? So the dashed lines in blue are the Dolphins players' path, obviously, all right? And that's Xavier Howard trying to track down Lamar. But the guys who I think would have an opportunity to stop this play is the free and the Mike, and Ricard and Powers, I thought, did a great job blocking them. Powers especially. The backside guy is not really concerned about, to be honest with you. It looked like the Dolphins understood the formation, to be honest with you. It looked like it didn't fool them. And here's what I mean by that. They're playing man here. They're running with Duve. The only thing I would suggest differently for them, to be honest with you, would be on the motion. And I think you can kind of see his feet right here. I would just tell the free safety to roll with Duve, and this guy to roll back and play free safety. But, at that point, I feel like the Dolphins knew that this was a run play on 3rd and 2. And a larger point here, if you stick around this long, these might be concepts that we could run down on the goal line. And I'm not a huge fan of running Lamar, but at this point, we're having such difficulty in 22 personnel. When we brought in Daniel Falele, trying to use that 6 offensive lineman, we didn't get much traction out of those things, I don't think. Correct me if I'm wrong. These might be the types of plays that we can run in those short yardage situations to give us another option. The only problem, the only drawback or deficit to it is you're using Lamar Jackson as someone to run the football, which to me is what we want to avoid. I wouldn't suggest doing those things early in the game, like our first possession that failed or stalled out at the 1-yard line. In fact, I was quite adamant. I thought it was a dumb decision to even go for it on 4th and goal. The Dolphins had demonstrated they could stop us. But if we were trying to win a game, if we were trying to win something, these might be some of the concepts that we could run, particularly with Duvernay in motion and the running back leading, because then that puts another layer of conflict onto the QB power read, QB counter read concepts that are packaged together with the running back on one side of Lamar or another. Let me know if you guys like these diagrams, these Sunday night one-play little looks. Clearly, I want people to watch my channel, and I want to try to produce content that's engaging and interesting for you. So if it's not, let me know. The stills obviously are my attempt to avoid any detection by copyright or, broadcast footage. I certainly don't want to, trigger any of those things at all. Let me know what you guys think of this video, what you think of my breakdown and the diagrams. Appreciate you guys' support. Enjoy the game tonight. If you are watching the Sunday night game, hopefully there's a ton of Ravens content creators that put out good content for you early midweek this week so we can see what our defense did wrong and maybe what the opportunities that our offense missed in that 3rd and 4th quarter to try to keep up with the Dolphins or maybe even put them away. Appreciate you guys checking the video out. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, please consider doing so now.